Hello, everybody. Elizabeth Peterson here. Tonight we're going to be talking about how to adapt SEAL, social, emotional, artistic learning, to your unique teaching situation. For the best ideas and information about arts integration and SEAL, subscribe to the Inspired Classrooms channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every week. I'm Elizabeth Peterson. Let's get started. I'm going to be talking to you about 5 different major points when it comes to your unique teaching situation. First, we're going to talk about, in general, how different classrooms have different personalities, okay? Then we're going to talk about what if you teach a different grade level than the other people that might be watching or listening or taking the course. Thirdly, we're going to look at the different subjects that you may be teaching from other teachers. And then we're going to look at your unique teaching style. And finally, we're going to touch upon remote teaching virtually while you're home and your students are learning remotely from their homes. So welcome. My name is Elizabeth Peterson. I host the Inspired Classroom, where we provide professional development and resources for teachers in arts integration and in SEAL. I'm also a classroom teacher myself. I teach upper elementary to 3rd and 4th graders, usually in a loop for the last few years, and I'm a former music teacher in middle schools. So I have some great experience with a variety of age levels, and I have been working with teachers who have come from all walks of the educational life. So I can't wait to talk to you tonight about how to adapt SEAL to your unique teaching situation. And if you're coming in, whether it's now live or as you're watching the recording, I would love to hear from you. Where are you from? What do you teach? And how are you doing? So I do want to just mention really quickly that I really hope that you are well, that you're healthy, and that you're safe in your home and your family is doing well as well. Okay, so know that I'm always thinking about everybody who has some kind of touch point to the Inspired Classroom and beyond. All right, so let's get started with point number 1. And point number 1 is about classroom personalities. Yes, I believe that different classrooms have different personalities. Go ahead and give me a like if you agree, okay? So, for example, there was a SEAL session a couple of nights ago where I was interviewing a SEAL teacher, Giovanna, who works in a neighboring town to mine. So that was kind of fun to have her go through the SEAL teacher training course. Now, she not only took the course once, but she went through it twice, because when you get the SEAL teacher training course, you get it for life, and you can actually go through it as many times as you want. And Giovanna loved it so much, she went through it a second time. And it was in 2 different school years. And in those different school years, she had very, very different classes. Give me a thumbs up if you can sympathize with that. You understand what that's like. So I remember that first year when she went through the SEAL teacher training course. She had a very difficult class with a lot of outbursts and real trauma in her classroom, and having to evacuate her classroom because of some of these behaviors. And she still stuck with it, and she still utilized SEAL, and she found some success. The second year that she did it, her class was completely different, had a completely different feel to it. And they were much calmer. They were much more at ease in general. And she said that SEAL worked for them as well. So every year, I feel like I get a new class. Well, I do get a new class, but I feel like each class every year has their own personality. Maybe you have this wonderful situation where you are an arts teacher, right? You teach music, you teach PE, you teach library. You get different classes coming in and out of your room every 45 minutes to an hour. And I'd be willing to bet that a lot of those classes have different personalities. Go ahead and give me a like if that is indeed true for you. Maybe you see small groups of students, right? I work with a lot of special ed teachers in the work I do with SEAL and arts integration. And of course, I work with special ed teachers in my job as a classroom teacher as well. And I know that there are special ed teachers who are working with small groups or specialists like OT and PT and the variety of educators that we have in our schools. They work with small groups, and those small groups even tend to have a variety of different personalities within themselves. So, no matter what you do, your classes are going to be different. And the beauty is that SEAL works with all varieties, all personality varieties of students, because it's covering so much information in terms of the arts and in terms of the social emotional competencies. Now, let me give you a little example of this. And I'm just going onto my phone here and I'm checking my notes. So if you see me looking around, that's what I'm doing. So let me tell you a little story of my own experience with this. So a number of years ago, I had a class of then fourth graders who, no matter what I tried to, what arts integration I worked in, they gravitated towards dance and movement. And that year, I created and implemented so many lessons that had dance and movement concepts embedded into them. They loved to move. In fact, during that year, I created a couple of videos that are the most popular on my YouTube channel. One is math dances, and one is dancing the water cycle. That was from that same class. And those were amazing, great examples of some great arts integration. Now, a couple of years ago, I had a class that really did not like to move. They were not comfortable getting up and dancing for sure. And instead, they gravitated towards visual arts. And that class had that visual art focus a lot of the time. And so what did I do as their teacher? Well, I provided so many opportunities for us to integrate the visual arts into their academic learning and absolutely into their SEAL learning as well. And we worked on social awareness and self-awareness and responsible decision-making through so much visual art, because that's what they needed and that's what they loved. That's not to say we tossed out dancing and we tossed out music. But I knew that class and I knew what they would really benefit from. Then there's also, when you think about your classes and what they need, they may need to really focus on self-awareness, or they may really need to work on working collaboratively and having that sense of being able to build relationships. All right. So I had a class a couple of years ago who really had a lot of anxiety and trauma and just had a hard time regulating their own emotions. And so we worked a lot. We focused in so much on that self-awareness piece through the art experiences that come with SEAL. So I'm going to probably make this point many times. I know I have throughout the week at all the various SEAL sessions, and that is that you know your students the best. You are the one who is in front of your students day after day, week after week, and you can make these great judgment calls on what it is they need. So that's point number one, looking at how classes have just different personalities and different needs. Now let's look at point number 2, and that is you probably all have different grade levels, right? You're working with a variety of ages and grade levels. Now, a lot of times people see arts integration and think, oh, that's really easy for elementary ed. And I totally get that because, well, let's face it, it kind of has that tendency. And that's totally fine to think that way. But I also encourage you to think about if you're a middle school or a high school teacher, do not think that the arts and arts integration won't work as well for your students. All you need to do is modify and adjust a little bit. For example, let's think about middle school students, okay? Middle school students have definite needs, right? They have so many SEL needs because they're navigating so many emotions and so many changes in their bodies and in their lives. All of a sudden, friends are the most important thing in the world for many of them. For many of them, they just want to get away from everybody and be alone, right? And that's okay. That's all natural part of being a middle schooler. So with SEAL, you are able to give them opportunities to utilize their talents, explore the social emotional aspect of their lives, because with SEAL and with arts integration in general, they're given so many engaging opportunities where they're utilizing their whole body, they're utilizing their whole mind, and they're connecting their intellect with their emotion through artistic experiences and through artistic appreciation. So, actually, a number of years ago now, when I was getting my CAGS degree in Arts Leadership and Learning, I did my capstone focusing in on middle school students because I feel that arts integration is lacking when it comes, for the most part, when it comes to middle level. And what I discovered as I was doing my research and then working with middle school teachers is that middle school students need 3 very different things, and yet they're kind of a lot alike. Okay, so one thing that middle schoolers really need is collaboration time, right? They have this social feeling about them where they need to be with their friends and they need to be able to work with one another. So they need to work on collaboration. A second thing that they need is they need their independence. They need to work alone. They need to contemplate things in their own space. And the third thing that they need is really good reflection time. They need to process things in their own time. So they need that quiet space, or they need that journal, or they need that time where they can just be alone away from people, right? So when we're talking about middle school, those 3 things can be addressed with the arts. So they're social emotional needs. They are collaborative needs. That's social awareness and relationship building. They need that independence. They need to understand themselves. That's self-awareness and self-management as well. And they need that reflection time. And let me tell you, with SEAL activities, reflection time is embedded into every single activity and lesson. So I absolutely believe that SEAL, social, emotional, artistic learning, is something that is extremely beneficial to middle level students. High school. Let's talk a little bit about high school. Okay. So high schoolers have their own needs. And I'll be honest with you, I don't work very much with high school students. However, I've worked with high school teachers. In fact, my mother was a high school teacher, and I remember her coming home with some really interesting stories. All right, maybe that's why I don't teach high school because of her stories. But like I said, I do work a lot with high school teachers. So let's talk about high school. High school students' needs are just a little bit more elevated, okay? So when you're talking about arts integration or SEAL activities and lessons, you need to adapt those activities to their needs. So there might be elevated activities, elevated materials, elevated thinking, and also a little bit more freedom in their choices of what they want. Because they are budding adults. They can make more of those choices on their own, and they can be really quality choices that they're making. So I hope you can see how arts integration and SEAL specifically can really help with elementary and even preschool. Okay, so I'm talking pre-K through 4, 5, 6. They can absolutely address middle schoolers' needs, and SEAL can also address high schoolers' needs as they're budding up into adulthood. And just for the record, I'd also like to even input in there adults. Adults can benefit from SEAL as well. And that's proven within the course, because when teachers join into SEAL teacher training, they experience these activities themselves. And I have gotten some of the most beautiful, personalized reflections from some teachers who the SEAL activities they do inside the course are just so moving. And the arts speak to us all. And when there are carefully crafted lessons, boy, it can really do some wonderful things for your students, regardless of what grade level they are. All right, so we've covered classroom personalities. We've covered all ages and grade levels. Now let's talk about subject areas. Now, in my experience working with teachers in arts integration and in SEAL, for the last 4 years, I've been focusing in on SEAL as well. I have had teachers come through workshops and in courses that have come from art backgrounds, music backgrounds, special ed, general ed. I've even had a school nurse go through the course. In all cases, the teachers have found so much benefit that works within their subject area. Why is this? Right? I'd be wondering why. That's because the strategies of SEAL are embedded into what you do every day. They're embedded into your teaching, because SEAL teacher training is a teacher training. It's all about you first and how this is going to work to help you become a real SEAL teacher. Embed strategies into your classroom's routine, embed strategies into your lessons every single day, and really help you to deliver that idea and those foundations of what SEAL truly is. Working on your social emotional skills, being creative, being artistic, being open-minded. Those are all part of what makes SEAL SEAL. So you learn what these strategies are, and then you try them out. I wish I could pull up the quote that I shared. I think it was last night at the SEAL session, where a teacher shared in her post-reflection after she finished the course that she was able to learn a strategy and then implement it in the next couple of days. Because that's really important. I think when you are learning something as a teacher, you're able to do it right away. All right. So that we covered subject areas. Before that, we covered grade levels, and ages. And then before that, the first thing was covering class personalities. Now let's take a look at teaching style, and then we're going to head off to virtual teaching, which is where we're all finding ourselves right now. Okay, so first we're going to look at number 4, teaching style. Now, teachers have their own teaching style, and that is a good thing. If we all taught the same way, boy, would it be a crazy looking school. So we all have our own style. Maybe you like humor. Maybe you like to be a little bit more serious. Maybe you like to really get in and get down and dirty with your students with all the experiences. Maybe you like to stand back and watch what your students do and just kind of pop in when they need it or when you think they need it. Whatever your teaching style, it's okay. Not only is it okay, it's awesome. Okay? So why this works for every teaching style is because, again, it's because of those embedded strategies. Those embedded strategies of SEAL help each individual teacher. Remember, this is SEAL teacher training, right? It's training you. So you're going to just naturally take in what works for you. And you're going to start with that. And then when you're ready, you can add more things in. But for every unit that we work on in the training, you're going to take what works for you and you're going to start to embed it into your teaching. You know yourself, right? You know your students best. You're going to have so many ideas that come out of SEAL teacher training, and then you get to choose what works right for you, and you start there. And then the great thing about SEAL teacher training is you're always going to have this course to go back to if you want, and you're always going to have one of those amazing bonuses that comes with the course, and that's the SEAL teacher community. That community is invaluable. And I think we are just going to have so many great conversations in there. And I can't wait to get started next week. In fact, we're already getting new SEAL teachers in. We have SEAL teachers that have already gone through the training, and I can't wait to get things really rocking and rolling in there. And why did I say that? Because you're going to feed off of each other, and you're going to start to look at what other people are doing and see what they like. That sense of community and networking and checking in with one another, even if it's passively done, even if you're just reading what other people are posting and writing, that is so beneficial. If that's the kind of learning that works for you, awesome. If that kind of learning, if you need the kind of learning where you're constantly in there and posting and commenting, that's awesome too. The more engagement, the better. So you know what's going to work for you, and you're going to just suck in what you need, and you're going to make it happen. Because as soon as you're learning something, you're implementing it pretty much right away. And of course, I am with you there every step of the way. What's also great is that we talk about your teaching style, and we talk about what subject you teach, and we talk about what grade level you are at, and we look at your classroom's personality every single week, because another one of the great bonuses to having SEAL teacher training is that we have that community, and then every week I go in live for 10 weeks and we have our own special Q&A session where we look at what you're challenged with, we look at what you're doing, and we fine-tune things and we clarify things. And we're also going to talk about how this SEAL work that we're doing is going to translate into virtual teaching and learning. All right. Flexibility also comes into play when it comes to SEAL in general. SEAL is not a program where you go step by step through things. That's part of what makes it available to not just classroom teachers, but all teachers. This is not a program with videos that you have to watch and discussion questions that you have to go through. Instead, it's embedding strategies into your teaching, embedding strategies into your classroom, whatever's going to work for you, for your teaching style, your students, and just implementing all the ideas that work for you. You really do make this course your own. Whew. I love SEAL. I love SEAL teacher training, and I love working with teachers and helping them to figure out how this works so well for them. All right. So we've looked at classroom personalities. We've looked at different grade levels and ages. We've looked at how this applies to different subject areas. So no matter what subject you're teaching or how you're working with other students, we looked at how this works for teaching style. Now let's take a little look at how this is going to play into your virtual teaching, because that's what's happening right now, right? Okay. I've already started talking to the SEAL teachers in our SEAL teacher community. In fact, I started this morning because every morning for the next, for 15 school days, I'm going to go in and I'm going to share with them various ways that you can take SEAL lessons, activities, and ideas and put them into play from your home. All right, let me give you a very quick example. So one teacher favorite is Friendly Fridays, okay? And today, what I did in my Google Classroom is I opened up a Friendly Friday thread, and to get things started and to make things a little easy to get used to, I just posted an assignment for everyone to just send in friendly messages. And I should have pulled them up on my phone. I'm not going to take the time right now to do it. I'll probably mess something up. But already students are commenting in with some of the most wonderful, friendly messages to their classmates. What does that do? That brings us together. It keeps smiles on my students' faces in this time where their anxiety is heightened, where they may be feeling isolated. So there are ways to implement SEAL into virtual teaching, but there are also meaningful ways. And it's almost like I feel this needs to be part of our virtual teaching because our students need us probably now more than ever. And in some cases, if you think about it, we are such an important part of their lives, right? For some kids, we're like a third parent. For some kids, we might be like a second parent, or maybe even more than a parent. So we really need to show up, and not just show up and assign assignments, but also show up as SEAL teachers. This is really, really important. We need to show our kids that we are here for them still and that we're supporting them every step of the way through this crazy, crazy time. So I hope this really does illustrate how SEAL can work for you no matter what your teaching situation. We've looked at how it works with different class personalities, right? We looked at how it works with different grade levels and ages, from pre-K all the way up to adulthood, really. We looked at how it works for all subject areas and specialties. We looked at how it works for all varieties of teaching styles, and also how it's even going to apply to virtual teaching. These are all really important because social emotional learning is really important. And a beautiful way to make that happen for our students is through the arts and through SEAL. So if you have more questions, if you're rolling things in your head and you're wondering, maybe this might be for me. Maybe I'm thinking about this a little bit more. Let me know. The address that you can go to actually look at SEAL teacher training and look at what it really does have in it is, I have the link up there already. It's theinspiredclassroom.com/train me. And if you go there, you'll get all the information and learn about all the different things you get with SEAL teacher training. I'm going to tell them to you briefly now, okay? You get SEAL teacher training, which is worth 45 professional development hours, and at the end you get a certificate for your time that you can utilize for your PD file. You can also opt in to get 3 graduate credits, which can be very helpful for teachers. All right, so you get the SEAL teacher training, and then you get 3 bonuses. One bonus is the how to create arts integrated lesson plans. That's a 3-hour course. You get a certificate for that as well for your professional development. You get the SEAL teacher community. That is an amazing access to so many amazing teachers who are right on the same path as you. And then you also get the weekly live Q&A sessions with yours truly, where we're going to talk about all the applications. We're going to see how we need to modify, clarify, answer questions, share our successes, and also we're going to have that added bonus of seeing how any of the units that we're working on that week are going to work for us virtually. And then today, for Friendly Friday, happy Friendly Friday, by the way. For today, I just added another bonus, and that is the Friendly Friday Handbook. And let me show you. This is the binder you get, by the way, if you decide to join for the 3 graduate credits. And I include all the papers that go with it. And then today's bonus is the Friendly Friday Handbook, which includes all the activities that have to do with Friendly Friday. And if you've heard me talk about Friendly Friday before, I know you probably can't see that very well because of lighting. If you've ever heard me talk about Friendly Friday before, you know that Friendly Friday is more or less a concept that you, as with everything in SEAL, have the flexibility to make it work for you, regardless of your teaching style, regardless of your class's personality, regardless of your age level and grade that you're teaching, and regardless of whatever subject area you have. We cover it all inside the course of how you can make things work for you. Because SEAL, first and foremost, focuses on you, the teacher, first. Why? Because I'm a teacher, and I truly believe in the teacher who is standing in front of the class every day. You're the one that's going to make the difference. You're the one that's going to really bring this social emotional learning to life for your students. No program is going to do that. No video series is going to do that. You are. And so it's about empowering you so that you can be the best SEL or SEAL teacher there is. So thank you so much for being here. Again, whether you're here live or you're watching this on the recording, I want to encourage you. Listen to all these points that I'm saying, because SEAL teacher training can absolutely work for you. I believe that with my whole entire heart and mind, because this is something that can really transform your teaching and really make a difference for your students. Okay? So if you need me, you know where to find me, and I cannot wait to hear from you. All right. I'll talk to you soon, and bye for now. And that's all for right now. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe and be well. Bye-bye.